welcome to another DorkLair action figure review. Today I'm taking a look at the Mythic Legions Lijae of the Elite Elven Guard from the Retailer Appreciation Wave. Here's a nice close-up of Lijae with that helmet that gives me a very like Lord of the Rings Elven Army vibe right there. And then when you remove it, it just kind of sits on top. You can get a look at the Lijae head sculpt. This figure was actually a commission type thing where probably somebody rather wealthy paid Four Horsemen Studios to make a figure sort of tribute of them, kind of like the Deltagar figure. And this one is Lijae. I don't know who Lijae is, but hopefully they did a good job, and hopefully Lijae is happy with how this one turned out. Correct me if I'm wrong about that, because it's kind of like a vague memory of them saying that this was something that was like sort of commissioned, but it's a pretty cool elf head sculpt. It's nice to get some Asian representation here in the Legions, and I think it's a pretty cool looking head. The hair looks amazing, by the way. The sculpture on the hair just looks really good. So nice job there on that elven head sculpt. I'm not a huge fan of putting the 2.0 shoulder armor on the 1.0 figures. It does work pretty well here. Like, I feel like it kind of comes together on this one, but my preference is to swap those out and maybe put the gold knight shoulder armor on there. But you've got the double straps here that are accented by that flat red. And the paint is like so good on this. There's washes, there's detail paint. There's just a lot of really good paint. So looks great. I mean, you got the red details up in the arms there. Tons of detail on the belt. You've got these red pouches. And, I mean, how often do you see this piece on the back of the belt painted like that with those details? So yeah, pretty cool, pretty rare loincloth piece. I think the Valiant Knight and the Vorthog figure are the only two so far with that one. And then you do still have that red detail on the legs, and I love the gold, and I like that they're kind of being consistent with the gold. This matches the Gold Knight really well. It matches the helmet from the Father Christmas. It's going to probably match the Sun Wukong Monkey King retailer version that's going to come out later this year. So I'm really loving all the golds we're starting to get in this line. Zooming out, here's an overall look at a neutral pose for Lijae. And this being a 1.0 Legions figure, it's close to 7 inches to the top of the head. At the very top of that helmet, it's well over 7 inches. And here he is next to a couple other gold figures from the line. On the left is a 2.0 figure. That is the Elf Legion builder with the dark-skinned arms from the Father Christmas underbody, the first Father Christmas. And you can see that gold is got some more orange kind of tone to it than the gold of the other two, which actually is a pretty good match. So the gold of Lijae and the gold of the Reinforcements 2 Gold Knight is actually really, really close. Here he is with the brute scale figures, Kalazir on the left and a Tharnog Kitbash on the right that uses Magnus's skirt and the helmet from Father Christmas. And there you can see again that those golds are very close to the gold on Lijae. Going beyond Mythic Legions now for comparisons, here it is next to an Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, that's Tiberius. And then on the right, we have the Dark Wolf figure from Frazetta Girls Icon Collectibles line. Next, here he is with the NECA Ultimate Dungeons & Dragons Elkhorn and Warduke. Next, we have him next to some big figures from indie lines. On the left is the Maestro Union Blademaster Wang. On the right is the Axie Toys Tyrannosaurus Rex. And then finally, just so that you can see it, next to some standard mass market Hasbro figures, on the left is Shipwreck from the G.I. Joe Classified line, and on the right is the Retro Green Goblin from Marvel Legends. Next up, let's talk about accessories. He does come with a pair of gripping hands that have horizontal hinges. I do consider this belt over the top to be an accessory because it's completely removable and it looks fine without it. Like, you can totally rock the figure without this leather belt here. He's got the shoulder straps. These are your standard Mythic Legions unadorned straps, but I think it's kind of cool that they kind of matched them up to the rest of the figure, and they gave you 2, and red is a fairly uncommon color for these straps. And of course, the helmet is also a removable accessory. One cool aspect of this figure is it does come with alternate upper arms and upper legs. This is a very rare situation for Legions to come with these extra limb parts. These are like the unarmored pieces, and these are in the solid black, so these would match up with Black Krampus. They'd also match up with Torion, same color there. And this is how it looks with those on there. And this is actually how it comes in the package. So if you are buying this figure, it's going to come like this, and you're going to want to swap out the other limbs if you want to get the overall look of the knight. And you know, this is not something that a lot of people do, especially when they're first getting into Legions, but you're going to have to use quite a bit of heat here and at the hips because you'll have to remove them. And then also at the arms and the shoulders, like the forearms and shoulders, use heat, use a blow dryer, get it really nice and warm, and it'll pop right apart. And then it does come with this alternate head sculpt, so you can do sort of a half orc look. And here's a look at Lijae with the half-orc setup. The weapons are painted really well. It does come with the elven longbow here with the stretchy string, and it comes with a set of arrows that you can attach to his belt. There is no single arrow with this set, though, for some reason. I don't know if mine didn't come with it or if it just wasn't supposed to have one, but there's no single arrow to, like, pose him up, so you'll have to grab one from another figure. And the shield is painted beautifully right here. I love the look of this, and it does have the little handheld piece for holding the shield. And one of my favorite swords in Legions is this short sword, and they've done a great job. This might be my favorite version of the short sword now in those sort of like Gorgo colors. And I forgot to mention the alternate hands. It has two other hands. It's got a right fist and a left gesturing hand, which can also be used for drawing the bowstring. For articulation, the head is on a ball joint. You can cock side to side, twist all the way around. The lower base of the neck also twists as well, so you might want to kind of line that up to get like the Adam's apple there, like this, I guess. And then you have the shoulder armor that can move up and down because it's on a peg on the back. The arms can swing out to here, and then you have a single jointed elbow that can come up to just about 90 degrees. There's a twist at the forearm, there's a twist at the hand, and a hinge at the hand. There's a ball joint at the waist. He can go forward a little bit. He can go back a good amount. He can kind of cock side to side and twist. Leg can kick all the way out and then back at a good range as well, out into the splits. Twist at the upper thigh. Single jointed knee. There is a twist below the knee, and then a twist at the ankle, hinge at the ankle, and an ankle rocker. For part swaps, I'm starting off with a very simple one here, taking the black arms and legs from Sir Lijae and putting them on the Temple Relic Guard. Then I added a couple other little touches with the Knight expressive hands from the Valiant Knight, and then I also put the cat head from the Heads pack. But just putting those arms and legs on the Temple Relic Guard is actually a fantastic look, and both Lijae and the Temple Relic Guard are super easily accessible right now. So solid look, very simple. Next, for a little more heavy knight kind of look, the shoulder armor is from the Gold Knight Reinforcements figure, head sculpt from retailer Father Christmas, loincloth, cloth goods from the Monkey King. I forget who the sword is from. It might be the Xylernian Guard, but there's a few figures with a very similar sword like that to give this thing a more heavy knight look. Next, we have the deluxe barbarian builder body with the Lijae half-orc head. And if you're going for that half-orc look, I think this is the body to use. I think the match is actually very good here. One thing about this figure that struck me was how kind of evil it could look really easily with just a few different part swaps. And when I saw the shield, I instantly knew I had to do it with Gorgo because it's pretty much an exact match of his color scheme and combination. These are parts from the Gorgo 2, the head, the shoulder armor, the hands, and of course the ether blade, the sword. And then I also put the loincloth skirt piece from Magnus and the horns from the Goblin Thwick. And this is one of those ones that, to me, it almost feels like this could have been a Legions release. Like, this almost feels like a character in itself. And that's one of my favorite ways to kind of go about popping and swapping. I thought I would try out the helmet on a few different head sculpts. This is just a standard skull right here. Obviously, I still have the human neck on there, but I do think that this helmet works pretty well with the skull. And if you want to give Magnus a little extra armor, here's how it looks with the Magnus head, which is also pretty good. I think the Magnus head works well here. Next is the Goblin Legion builder head with that helmet on there, and it's a little big, but I kind of think that makes sense. Like, it's as if he stole this off an elf, and I put it on the King Noglin body. The colors aren't exact match, but kind of an interesting take right here. Wrapping this video up with a look at this helmet on the orc head, which is actually also a pretty cool option here. This figure has a lot of options, a lot of different variety you can kind of work with. It is packed full of stuff, so the value is excellent as well. And the paint job is just phenomenal. It is just an excellent piece right here. Love this figure. Thanks for watching, and until next time, may the force be with you.